Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we have the latest from the live radar. We're going to have a look at the latest weather warnings, as we've got numerous warnings issued over the next 48 hours, as we are going to see further storms not only through the rest of today, but perhaps for parts of the Midlands and northern England as we head into Thursday. Another small area of low pressure is going to really enhance convection, producing more thunderstorms. Maybe not quite as severe or as big as they've been today, but they're going to be a bit more slow moving, which means that some areas could see even more rain. We'll look at the latest UKV, looking at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days. As I said, the next couple of days still very unsettled, lots of showers and storms, but through Friday and Saturday, things do dry up for at least a couple of days. However, onto Sunday and then into the start of the new week, we are going to see the westerly winds returning. So it is a bit of a blip this weekend. We are going to see something slightly drier Friday, Saturday, but those westerly winds are going nowhere. They are coming straight back in with another wall of heavy rain there through Sunday. Temperatures are going to be very up and down, all dependent on the precipitation, and that means that during Friday and Saturday it might actually be fairly warm in some spots, low 20s quite widely, as we do see drier conditions. And then we'll finish the video by having a look at the longer range charts, continuing to see those pretty unfortunate scenes of low pressure being pretty dominant for the foreseeable future. Still some hints of higher pressure nudging in at times from the GFS today, for example, but we're not seeing any real overwhelming change within the model output or the ensembles that would suggest that that is a proper scenario. Just flirting with those ideas at the moment. The unsettled westerly wind is going nowhere, at least from today's run. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe. Now, if you start on the live radar, you can still see we have got some extensive thunderstorms still taking place as I'm recording this just after 5 p.m. The biggest storms, those eventful storms, now clearing out into the North Sea. The last sort of proper active storms are these just off the coast of Grimsby there. These are the last storms that are producing proper lightning activity. Yes, sporadic strikes, but frequent active thunderstorms. They look like they now have subsided. We are expecting all of these showers to disintegrate within the next couple of hours. The warnings expire at 8 p.m, so we are expecting it to dissipate away. So it is in line with the forecast. But yeah, the last active storms now heading out into the North Sea. Still some lines, though, of very heavy rain with a few embedded storms, one through London here, moving northwards and eastwards, so again dropping quite a lot of rain in a short space of time, and further northwards as well, some further bands of rain. As we head into Scotland, not seeing thunderstorms, but persistent rain, as the weather front that moved through this morning has cleared all the way up towards Norway now, but also still flirting with parts of Scotland. If you look at the temperatures, it's just after 5 p.m, not too bad today. These thunderstorms are being caused by a warm sector and a cold front sort of moving into that warm sector. So that means we actually still have quite a lot of humid air around, at least at the surface. So temperatures today have actually been fairly warm when we have avoided that rain. You can see it's still actually quite hot there across parts of Central and Northern Europe. But that is all going to get swept away with cooler air moving in pretty imminently. Now, if you look at the past 24-hour precipitation, we can see we've seen a lot of rain over the past couple of days, and this is the last 24 hours. Again, the heaviest rain in the far south. Again, we had a warning for southwest England and parts of South Wales, again, warranted with the darker greens. But as I've said over numerous videos, I expected to see warnings elsewhere, and they were not issued last night. They were only issued this morning, which again I do think is not the correct decision. They should have been warned and put into force at least a day before the event does start. We did see that rain warning extended all the way to the southeast, where actually we've seen the heaviest rain in Kent and Sussex, and we've seen a widespread thunderstorm warning issued this afternoon as well, covering northern areas. And you can see these darker greens and yellows where some of these intense thunderstorms have moved through. Again, dumping a lot of rain for a short space of time in small areas, again, potentially causing flash flooding. So again, pretty frustrated with those weather warnings. I knew they were going to be issued. From the looks of all of the model data over the last couple of days, we all knew they were going to be issued. I just don't quite understand why they were issued at 10 a.m. or 9:30 this morning, with the storms arriving a couple of hours later, when we knew they probably should have been issued yesterday, maybe even on Monday, as these storms have been very well forecasted, not only here but on all of the UKV runs. So again, a little bit puzzled by that, and we'll run through those weather warnings in a few moments' time. But widely, lots of heavy rain around today, and again, you can see those streaks just indicating where those storms have moved through. We can actually have a look on the Met Office website at the observations from earlier today. I like to have a look at this just in these convective scenarios, just to see how well our forecasting was, or at least how well the models had done. So you can see the initial band of heavy rain cleared northwards through this morning, and then as we head to around lunchtime, these are when these storms moved in. Again, you can see from this why I was so puzzled that we've not seen a warning issued yesterday or Monday, because by the time the warning was issued this morning, most people had gone to work, most people had dressed for the day. Again, some people might have got caught out in this, not knowing a warning had been issued. So you can see the storms are really forming out towards the channel across the southwest. I think the first active storm was down here towards the southwest, then further active storms further eastwards. These slowly moving northwards and eastwards, and you can see why we saw the heaviest rain in the southeast. Not only big thunderstorms, but embedded within a big clump of heavy rain, and then the more proper convective storms were based further westwards. These moved very quickly northward and eastwards. That was the only saving grace really today, is that they moved through quite quickly. If these were slow moving, if the wind wasn't quite as strong, then definitely could have seen even worse conditions out there, maybe even amber warning territory given the intensity of some of these showers. You can see them really banding up across central England there into the Midlands, and this is where we saw the most active storms during the early afternoon. Progressively, those most active storms started to clear quite quickly northwards and eastwards, with the big storms finally going offshore around the 4 or 5 p.m. point, and leaving behind these streaky showers and storms still across England and Wales, and those are continuing at the moment until we get to the period right now where those storms are slowly clearing, and again will dissipate quite quickly in the next few hours. If you also have a look at the lightning strikes, you can see initially nothing going on at midday, a few storms out in the channel, and then as we progress during the day, you can see the storms start to take off, especially around the Isle of Wight, and then you see that first active storm towards Cardiff there, and then eventually really starts to explode into action. More storms across the Midlands, central southern England, up towards even the northwest there, and you can see the brighter the colour, the newer those strikes were, and you can see just progressively clearing northwards and eastwards. And again, really puzzled why we did not have a thunderstorm warning issued for those central and northern England areas. You can see how these storms are rattling through with really frequent lightning strikes. Again, no warning was issued until 10 a.m. And you can see slowly those most active storms were clearing off the North Sea, and as I said, around that 4-5 p.m. point, that is when they did properly start to clear. So what we've got remaining are more heavy showers, the few odd lightning strikes. But again, you really need active lightning strikes, proper cloud to ground strikes to be picked up here. So you can see most active storms have cleared away now, and yeah, not too much going on now for the rest of today. Now, if you look at the weather warnings, we did see a thunderstorm warning issued eventually. But you can see it doesn't even actually cover where some of the most active storms were across parts of the West Midlands and Northwest England. We just saw from the lightning strikes there that were very active storms there. And the storm warning didn't actually cover the far southwest. Yes, this was covered by a rain warning earlier this morning, but that did expire around 2 p.m. just as the storm's really getting going. So again, surprised this thunderstorm warning was not only issued earlier, but was more extensive. You can see it came into force at 11 a.m. today, expired at 8 p.m. Thunderstorms associated with scattered heavy showers may cause some impacts during Wednesday. Again, it was pretty organised, not too scattered. And you see scattered heavy showers, some thunder, and are expected to develop late this morning into the afternoon before easing into the evening. Most active storms, hail, strong gusty winds, and lightning may be impactful, and a few areas could see frequent heavy bursts of rain leading to surface water flooding. High likelihood or medium likelihood, lower end of the impact matrix. Very interesting, and you can see it was put into force at 9:35 this morning. Again, by the time most people would have seen this, or would have been on social media or on online weather forecasts, most people had probably gone to work or probably gone out for the day. Again, not getting the proper purpose of these warnings, which is to warn people in advance. Now, we do have other warnings issued over the next couple of days. A rain warning issued for the far east of Scotland. This does expire later on this evening as well, 9 p.m, for the remnants of that rain, as we saw from the live radar. And there's another warning issued tomorrow. And then I'm glad to see that this has been issued in advance for parts of northern England for those storms tomorrow, 2 a.m. until 5 p.m. An area of heavy showers and thunderstorms moving northeastwards could cause some localised flooding. Again, very similar hazards, most likely a very similar sort of outbreak to today, just slower moving around a more organised area of lower pressure. Again, could drop more rain than we've seen today in a smaller area. Might not be quite as active with the lightning strikes, but definitely could be more impactful in terms of precipitation. So we do look at the latest UKV now. This is the 3 a.m. run. We'll actually have a look at the midday run in a minute, but we can only see that on net weather. So we'll jump over to that to look at the storms for tomorrow there. But the overall next 5-day update will stick here on the weather outlook. You can see the rain moving through early this morning and then the thunderstorms this afternoon. All of the rain will eventually clear overnight and it'll be slightly drier as we head into Thursday morning, or very early on Thursday morning, for the next band of rain, showers and storms approaches from the southwest. You can see initially southwest England, parts of Wales, and even clipping southern and eastern England there through rush hour. But it's really where this system starts to stall across the Midlands and northern England, where we could see the most impactful precipitation, and it slowly clears into the evening. So you can see why that warning has been issued for the Midlands and northern England. Perhaps from the looks of this, maybe a warning should be issued for a couple of hours further eastwards as well, given a pretty intense band of precipitation moves through there right around rush hour. That does clear, and as we head into Friday, we're into that little lull, that little blip, with things drier and warmer and sunnier during Friday and during Saturday. But it all changes as we head into Sunday. Another band of very heavy rain moves in here. Again, the risk of a few hefty showers and storms, but again, nothing on the scale of what we've seen today or tomorrow. That clears. Again, a little bit drier during the evening, and then we see another band of rain approaching there as we head into Monday. So looking pretty abysmal, unfortunately, to start next week and for Sunday. But Friday, Saturday, not looking too bad. If we look at the max temperatures, you can see as we head into this afternoon, peaking around 2021, where we've seen a bit of sunshine between the storms in the east. Again, though, it's very humid, and again, with that rain around, that won't make it feel too warm in most spots. Into Thursday, again, temperatures struggling pretty much there, with temperatures peaking at 18, 19, maybe the odd 20, so not particularly great, and again, feeling cooler under the rain and cloud. Into Friday, though, temperatures could nudge up slightly higher, more 18 to 22, as we start to see a bit more dry conditions and sunnier conditions, and Saturday could jump even higher, 22, 23. Wouldn't be surprised to see an isolated 24 or 25, given the warmer southerly flow and dry conditions. Again, could be slightly underdoing it here from the UK view, but we'll have to wait and see. And then Sunday, again, could touch 21 or 22, but generally it would start to cool as we do see that rain moving in, and then expecting the temperatures not to be particularly great there for Monday either. Now, if you just go over to net weather, this is the same data. This is the UKV, but this is the midday run, not the 3 a.m. run. The UKV on the weather outlook only runs at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. But on net weather, we do have it for the full period. I just prefer, though, the graphics on the weather outlook. But I do want to have a look at the latest UKV run that we've got available just for those storms tomorrow. So you can see all the remaining storms clear away during this evening. And then that next band arrives, again, looking pretty heavy. Again, could be a warning warranted there for the London area, up towards sort of north of London, up towards Hertfordshire, Bedfordshire, the Midlands, East Anglia, as it does look pretty severe, this line of heavy showers and storms that moves through around rush hour. And then you can see it pivoting further northwards, and that's where it dumps a lot of rain, perhaps even reignites some of those storms there across the Peak District, just generally North England, as that slowly clears away. So yes, looking at some more storms as we head into tomorrow, perhaps though not quite as severe and as widespread as they've been today, but in some spots they could be very impactful. So do be wary if you are in those areas in the north, and especially around rush hour, maybe in around the southeast, as we do see that initial very heavy band of precipitation moving through. Now, if you focus on the longer range to end the video, we won't look at this in too much detail, just because not seeing much changes, to be honest, day on day. Low pressure continues barreling in off the Atlantic, slightly dry with that southerly flow into Friday and Saturday, but then low pressure returns into early next week. Now the GFS is a little bit of a twist later on, as we said at the start of the video. Higher pressure makes more of an influence and it dominates for southern areas with the low pressure and the jet stream push northwards. You can see with the 300 HPA winds, the jet stream just to the north of Scotland, so probably still unsettled there for maybe Scotland, but for most of England and Wales, Republic of Ireland, it wouldn't be too bad. It actually would be reasonably dry, not bone dry, but reasonably dry with the main low pressure systems moving to our north. So again, we'll have to wait and see whether that's actually got any validity. I doubt it from the looks of the other runs, the ensembles today, but just shows you what could happen if the high pressure gains a bit of strength. Now, if we look at the latest GEM, it's broadly very similar. Out towards day 7, lots of low pressure, and out towards day 10, where the GFS starts to build in some higher pressure. Not seeing that here from the GEM. The flat lows with generally the jet streams set right over the top of us with the low pressure centre towards Iceland and a cool northwesterly flow. Pretty bog standard compared to the runs we've seen recently. Not seeing any high pressure influence there like the GFS. So again, firms up that hypothesis that the GFS is not particularly accurate today. Now, after you finish by looking at the latest ECMWF, again, lots of low pressure involved. Again, as we head into the longer range, that low pressure goes absolutely nowhere. And again, no real proper hints of higher pressure like the GFS was showing. Again, brief ridges are possible, but not the more dominant high pressure shifting the jet stream northwards like the GFS did show. Again, I do suspect that GFS is again a bit of an outlier this evening. And if we finish looking at the latest ensembles, you can see this quite accurately here. Pretty cool and unsettled the next couple of days into Friday, Saturday. Bit of a spike in warmth and turning drier for a couple of days before it returns back towards average into early next week and hovers around average or below average for the foreseeable future. Upper air temperatures all over the place, really, but around average. No real very warm runs, no very cold runs, just generally a bog standard westerly flow. You can see the operational run is much warmer there, toward the warmer end, and not too many precipitation spikes. So again, not really in line with the majority of runs. And you can see if we look at the sea level pressure, yes, there is some higher pressure signal, but it definitely is on the higher end, but not really seeing much in the way of high pressure in the next 10 days. And finally, if we compare it to the latest ECMWF, it's pretty much exactly the same. High precipitation over the next day or so with cooler upper air temperatures, bit of a spike in warmth into the weekend, overlapping with the return of precipitation, and then generally again longer term average or below average upper air temperatures by a couple of degrees, nothing too remarkable, and really high precipitation around the sort of 9th to 15th of September, looking pretty abysmal there with more and more areas of lower pressure. So no positive signals in the longer term for sustained higher pressure. Again, we could see ridges, little blips like we're seeing through Friday, Saturday, but nothing to indicate a proper pattern change incoming. It's looking like it's going to stay unsettled, stay relatively abysmal over the coming days and weeks. But of course, we'll take every day as it comes, and hopefully we'll be able to see some drier slots coming at some point. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you'll make sure you stay safe out there if you are impacted by some of those storms, not only the rest of this evening, but also into Thursday as well. And I'll see you again for another video soon.